If you're like me, you might think life's full of cards, and they're all stacked against you. No matter what happens, someone keeps putting a draw 4 on you right before it's your turn, and then there's a skip, and a draw 2, and before you know it, it's all over. On a more somber note, we've all experienced a lot of collective loss these past few years. Loss is strangely something that we tend to try to avoid, but it's a natural part of life, as is failure. But as a chronic perfectionist, I often feel like if something's not done just the way I need it to be, then there's no point in doing it. I'm addicted to the feeling of success, but I don't want to fail on the way. I've been thinking a lot about the histories of epic failures and of intense struggle. You win some and you lose some, but it's hard for me to surrender to the natural feeling of loss. We all make choices, and at least in theory, no one's destined to be a loser, at least in countries that brag about their ability to produce opportunity and access. Perhaps no other place has made this more real than the gaming world. This is how Monopoly taught me how to fail.
So friends, I have one very important question. I need you to answer very honestly, LOL. And that honest question is, have I ever won a game of Monopoly before?
No.
Not a single one that you can think of? What about that one time when I got really, really close when we were in Florida and it was like 3 a.m. and I almost pulled it out?
Close? You were close with Monopoly.
Oh, the not so Monopoly, the not so real Monopoly.
You have won in Monopoly. Yeah.
But it wasn't Monopoly.
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your honesty. That's all I needed.
Ever since I started playing Monopoly at the end of 2023, I've been deeply addicted. And I'm like 0-10 thus far, but I can't stop playing. I'm used to the old adage, practice makes perfect, but this game goes against that concept completely. And after I lost so badly the first time I played, I wanted to understand a little bit more why people enjoy something like this, and why I can't stop playing and I can't stop losing. So sure, there's strategies to Monopoly, but it doesn't seem like you can always guarantee a win every single time you play. So in fact, here's 2 examples that might be obvious to you, but you should try these strategies the next time that you play. Try to purchase the pink and orange side of the board as soon as you can. And on your first turn, buy up as much of the properties as you can, including if you happen to land on Park Place or Boardwalk. You could use those properties to barter for others later. But who am I kidding? I've never won a single game. Maybe you're better off taking advice from someone who's literally not me. In reality though, this game comes down to your own compounding choices and hopefully a little less jail time in the beginning of your playthrough. Every roll of the die typically means one's destiny is in the balance. But this game is evil. The old story used to go that during the Great Depression in the 1930s, an unemployed man named Charles Darrow created the game Monopoly, and he became a millionaire in the process. But in reality, Darrow stole the game. This is Elizabeth McGee, a feminist, activist, and progressive who created the predecessor to Monopoly and its classic board game design in 1903, over 30 years before Darrow. She was responding directly to what was happening in American life at the time, protesting against huge monopolists and corporations. She created and patented the landlord's game as a teaching tool in 1903 with 2 sets of rules. An anti-monopolist set where everyone was rewarded when wealth was created, and a monopolist set where the goal was probably a bit more familiar to you and I. Create monopolies and destroy all the other players. McGee wanted to set up a system of morality. Creating wealth is better when everyone benefits. So instead, in a sick twist of irony, McGee received just $500 in income for her creation, while Darrow made millions of dollars and collected tons of royalties. I wish sometimes that life worked really, really clearly, like this formula, for example. Life, L, plus working hard, WH, equals success. In reality, though, often the formula goes like this. Life, L, plus working hard, WH, plus good choices, C, plus serendipity, SP equals S, success. And even then, there's always another variable, I, inequality. I think life, by default, isn't fair, and sometimes life is actually stacked against us. I can't ignore the historical legacies of slavery here in the United States, for example, or the rampant sexism in most societies. Capitalism doesn't always work, and this may seem controversial, but it's my opinion that these big systems in our lives do need some checks and some balances. Because honestly, the systems aren't really that human. They're not made for everyone's benefit. Okay, so we've established that Monopoly is kind of evil, but it does get worse. Around this Monopoly board that you're familiar with are a bunch of properties: Baltic and Mediterranean, New York and Tennessee. There's Ventnor, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, and of course the ultra desirable and super risky Park Place and Boardwalk. The Landlord's game eventually became popular with the Quakers in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So these properties on the board and their values are real. Baltic and Mediterranean avenues, low-income, black neighborhoods in the 1930s. Ventnor and Pennsylvania avenues, high incomes with racial covenants, which are deeds that made sure that black people couldn't live in those neighborhoods. Black people could work at Park Place, but they couldn't enjoy any of the minstrel entertainment at Boardwalk. It was segregated space. People would arrest them on sight. And of course, Oriental Avenue is where Chinese Americans lived, hence the pretty offensive name that we really don't use anymore. But today, these same properties around the board are still negatively impacted by decisions made by Atlantic City's leaders, which means that places like Baltic and Mediterranean avenues are still very poor. Okay, so switching gears up just a little bit. In 1970, UC Davis professor Robert Summer and Judy Tart released a racially conscious version of Monopoly. It was designed to teach people about racism and privilege in the United States. Summer made the game unfair for players who chose to be black on purpose. He even created a stack of opportunity cards that were supposed to be separate and unequal. So in 2020, a 50th anniversary edition of the game was released by this comedy duo. And today, I'm gonna play it with my friend, Austin. Before we begin, here are the rules. This is still about buying property, but with the realities of redlining in the United States. So it actually restricts players who choose to play as black people from buying in certain areas. Players who choose the white character can buy any property.
Yo! How are you doing?
I'm good, man.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome to my humble little...
Very cool. Yeah, it's just nice.
It was amazing to hear Austin's perspective on this. He has a PhD in English and he studied how video games and techniques of play overlap with race, class, and gender.
So Austin, to do something that's a little bit more dynamic than already playing this game, I think that I would like to be white today.
Okay, sounds great.
Since obviously, yes, I am black and I'm used to picking up maybe the black cards in real life, today I think we should switch places.
That sounds great to me, and that is, I think, the least I can do for this game.
Austin was a really good sport about this. While we were playing, we were really challenging ourselves to think about how this game would be used. Who would want to play a game that hits so close to home?
When you acquire a property, collect its deed card and place it face up in front of you. Additionally, black players mark each property they buy with a black power token, highlighting the decline of white supremacy. Wow. This is deep.
How many black power tokens would you like?
I mean, I don't know. It's only black players who get to use the
Yeah,
black
it's true.
power.
I know.
So you got it.
Is it always true that black and white people will have these experiences?
Okay, so I have chosen my character, and you'll never guess who this is. I've decided to be Karen.
I think that you're gonna live your white lady best.
We both began to realize that this game is all about understanding legacies and how they've shown up in United States history.
There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of lessons in here that I feel like you just got to play this with the right people.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of historical things going on that I find just fascinating. Even the game rules, you know?
The truth is that it's deeply complicated and complex.
I think the things that work well is I can see using this in a classroom, especially a college classroom. I would not put this in a high school classroom.
Absolutely not.
That feels like you're going to get fired for sure. I think there's some interesting things that are happening that's making you think about property and the ties to like property and race and the like structural racism within home ownership. And I think that is coming across really well. I think the things that come across less well, that feel more out of date, is jokingly, but it does have quite a literal black and white view of the world where
they're the only two groups of people who exist.
And especially within some of these cities where these cities are inherently multicultural.
Watching him critically break all of this down was a unique experience in itself.
I'm curious, do you feel it's problematic? Like, for lack of a better word?
I mean, honestly, I feel like if you don't understand the legacies of Jim Crow, then you might just see this game as being, if you will, a segregated mess. However, if you understand some historical context, I think this is what makes this game, if you will, fun to explore how the game creators decided to introduce these historical legacies to a familiar game that we all know, which also has its own historical problems. So if you're used to playing Monopoly, you've just been playing it without understanding that all those properties are, if you will, problematic too.
Absolutely.
So I think that this game in itself is just supposed to help us think. It's a moral question the way that the original game is supposed to be.
That's something I think actually, to go back to the first point, that the game doesn't do well to teach you about race, if that's what you're trying to do with this game, because it is not fun to be black and have to deal with all of this stuff that the game is laying out. But I think pretty much undoubtedly it is more fun to play as the black character than it is the white character in this game, because my black character I'm playing as, I don't actually have to worry about paying the rent or getting my house stolen or dealing with gentrification pricing me out of the neighborhood, because it's all abstract. Then it becomes, fun. Look how much of an asshole your character is. Look what a jerk you is. So that's something I think makes it very clear in certain ways. The black characters are better than the white characters in a way that does not comport to the material reality of the real world. Yeah.
You are being divorced. Surrender to Treasury half of the value of your assets minus mortgages as settlement. Should have gotten a prenup.
Ooh. Love to see someone's downfall.
That's devastating.
But somehow, even after I picked the character that, in this game, is supposed to give me some unfair advantages, well, I still lost. Here's my reaction to losing.
I can't believe I'm about to lose this game and I'm white! What's this?
The game did not believe you.
I'm supposed to win! I'm white!
It all came down to some pivotal choices and some bad rolls. Even as a so-called white character in this game, I still couldn't pull it off.
I tallied everything up, my real estate, my liquid assets, for $3,600,671.
The punches I want to throw.
3.17. My ability to buy that, so the ability for my character to leverage structural racism against you cost you the game.
Wow.
That literally cost you the game.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah, because had I not had that, had you kept Palo Alto, because you had to sell it to me for half price.
Half the price.
And had I not had to do that, I
would have won the game even with everything that I had gone through.
You had to sell all of my. You built up everything, and then you had to sell all of your properties.
And I rebuilt with less properties and still almost beat you.
You were this close, which speaks to the structural advantage that whiteness.
So this was our experiment. This is blacks and whites. What a journey.
What a journey.
Well,
this was a fascinating game.
In honor of all the blacks and whites everywhere, it's time for A game should be an escape, not a confrontation. the Parker Brothers. I feel that with something that is so similar to real life, I can't help but be confronted by the realities of what playing Monopoly is. It's unfair, just gotta face it. It might well have been called the game of life, as it contains all the elements of success and failure in the real world, and the object is the same as the human race in general seem to have, the accumulation of wealth. Elizabeth McGee. I feel like perfectionism for me is the norm because I live in a system where I'm questioned on if I truly belong. In order to survive, I've turned to winning, but it's at the cost of so much more. I'm gonna be honest here, I love to win. I want it all the time. I've spent a lot of my life chronically online where success is constantly in your face. I'm afraid to be called an idiot in public. I'm afraid to lose when the answers to life feel like you should just be able to Google them or use AI or something. For the last few years, I've been convinced by self-help, capitalism, and my own perfectionism that I have to grind harder, get things done faster, and always aim for efficiency. I'm learning now that it's actually impossible to run myself like a machine or a big business. More than anything, what playing Monopoly has taught me is that winning isn't actually everything, and that's okay. All for ourselves and nothing for other people seems, in every age of the world, to have been the vile maxim of the masters of mankind. Adam Smith. So I could become the richest person on the board, but my life might not be as happy as I'm looking for it to be. So sure, you can become addicted to the feeling of success. That makes those valleys that you experience in life that much harder to navigate. I'm choosing to define my own failures, and I want to create a life that will encourage me to take some risks and not run myself into the ground at the same time. So here's my new formula. Hopefully you'll write this down. Failure, F, plus success, S, equals life. A big L. But at the end of it all, life is truly just a series of peaks and valleys. You just have to keep rolling the die. See you next time.